Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Reverend Laughlin here. We're on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And when I'm not doing TV shows, this is the middle of 3. I do back to back to back on Thursdays around noontime Central. And I research. That's what my primary focus is on life. I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem, treat symptoms, and you'll always have the cause there, or you may just feel better or look better. I also help people with their books. I've published about 50 books for people, independent publisher. I speak on health and wellness all the time. In fact, my next talk is coming up about how to literally live to 100 years of age with a body of a healthy 50-year-old and the mind of a 25-year-old. So that's the topic of the next program on the USA Global TV and Radio Network called Talking Heads. But today, our show is about, and this is the same problem I had last time Jackie was on the show. She has a name about that long, and I have difficulty pronouncing it. So I'm just going to say, Jackie, please join me up here on stage, and we will worry about the last name pronunciation down the road.
Thanks, Red. Yeah, Regnerovna is a fun one to say once you get the jingle right, but it's always a conversation starter.
Ragnarova?
Yeah.
Okay. I not having any is okay. I think last time we talked about how you chose that name. So why don't we start with that first, because that's the way you want to be known.
Mm-hmm. So I guess Regnerovna is, it's a patronymic of, I was reading, it was Brothers Karamazov, and how the characters call each other is very important, and they often, it's a big part of the story that they're the son of, the father. And I thought that sounded really cool, and I love the book, so I picked up like the archaic version of my father's first name and put Ovna on the back of it. It rolled off the tongue. I thought it rolled off the tongue, or at least was the same level of difficulty to say as the last name I was born with. So it felt like the same sort of keeping in the same spirit, while also beginning with the letter R, which brings me just that much closer to J.R.R. Tolkien as like R. So yeah, that's how I chose the last name. And yeah. And
your predominance in interest and everything is primarily in fantasy.
Yeah.
And you have a, as I understand backstage, you have a new commitment.
Yes.
Something that we want to make sure that the world knows about. This is your accountability to the world now. You are now committing. You have a public commitment on the air. This is live TV. This can't be covered up down the road. It'll always be found. So tell us about what your current commitment is, because I think that's pretty important.
So I just started revising my second draft of this romantasy-esque novel called Realms of Fire and Ice, working title. It takes modern storytelling. I think I was talking about this last time I was here, about like the romantasy, the epic fantasy, and spanning those together. So it's taking some of the tropes that are super popular right now, A Court of Thorns and Roses, Fourth Wing, like those really popular tropes, but mixing them with the more epic tropes that are popular, like with a deeper world building and a consistent magic system. So I'm taking those two things and combining them into a story that, like Tolkien, I don't know if he would approve, but I don't care, is a mythological telling of my town, of where I live. It's a synthesized mythology, but that's the background, and the narrative portion is riffing off of Hades and Persephone and the story of how spring comes to St. Paul, Minnesota, and why it is so late in coming, and things of that nature, but it's expressed through personifications of weather that act very tropey and very cute together. And it's a lot of fun. My biggest hurdle and challenge with this story is I'm writing mythological representations of communities and well-established concepts in the city. And so I need to go around and like talk to those communities and be like, is this okay? Is this not okay? And feeling that out, because I'm just one woman who has lived in different spots in the city, but I'm not a member of every one of these communities that I want to show why they're cool and add to the city by making them a part of my story, but not disrespecting them.
Okay, so you're kind of in the same role I am as a researcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned St. Paul and the word spring in the same time. Does that mean it's not snowing and the temperature's over 70 once, or how do you define spring in St. Paul, Minnesota?
Well, generally spring comes at about 8. If we start talking about when the snow stops falling, that is early April. We'll see the grass again. It will snow again in April. It always snows in April, but then by May we've got grass and flowers blooming, and that's how we think of that for the story. It doesn't get to May. It literally gets to when Winter decides that he'll leave, but he'll be back again next year. So we don't actually get to spring, but Winter decides to leave, and after shenanigans ensue, bringing in concepts like the Anishinaabe story of the Wendigo, of the winter, the dark side of winter. It's fantasy characters team up to fight seasonal depression is one way I would pitch the story. And so they're fighting to bring spring back, but since spring takes forever to get here, the story doesn't actually reach. There is still a dream of spring, but I'm definitely not using that title because George R.R. Martin is going to publish that book someday. It's coming as soon as the Minnesota spring comes as well.
Okay, so it's true. April showers bring May flowers in St. Paul.
Yeah, snow showers, but yeah.
And spring is that almost the visible dot at the end of the tunnel. Is that really a dot or is that not?
Yeah.
Okay. As you were talking, I'm thinking to myself, how valuable is AI in deriving and developing and researching the kinds of characters and scenes that you use? And have you ever used AI for any of that?
I haven't used AI at all on this book. A lot of it is just like building off of my own knowledge and feeling of how books should go for my content creation on my Skirt and Eye channel. 5 years I've been researching and theorizing what myth is this author riffing off of? How do they deconstruct that myth, and how do they work it into their narrative? And so it's really that process of I'm just going to the original myths and saying, okay, how I'm not letting an AI deconstruct the myth and tell me how to put it into my narrative. That's my job. That's where the fun is. So that's the big part of it. And then the other part that I've been talking about, finding members of communities and asking, like, is this okay? Is this not okay? That an AI just can't do that either, because it's about the personal connection that I find so crucial for an artist to have, so that understanding like how characterization works, how a character can mythologically be a symbol of a community but still have character flaws without making their character flaw representative of a community. Nuanced conversations like that happening in coffee shops across the Twin Cities, really, to get a feel of the bigger story, but also the people who live it. So that's been the process so far, which I just don't think AI can do.
I started using if I tell AI what he or she is, you are a master researcher in this area. And I tell it, this is the areas that I want you to research. And I list all the pubs and the websites and things like that. And I go into about 2 pages of detail about how I want them to research and give me the information back. I tell them who my audience is and what my expectation is of the value I'm adding to that audience. Like I say, it's a pretty long prompt, but it's something that when I hit go, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes for AI to respond back to me with an answer that's usually 10, 12, 15 pages of information with flowcharts and other things that I need in order to do my research on the parts of things that I'm doing. And so I think if you were actually set up a prompt where you actually put into, you are this person in this mythological area, and this is what your character flaws are. And in other words, you build the story into AI, you tell it who it is and what you want. I think it might be of some value. It's certainly worth, 10 or 15, 20 minutes of your time to see, is there anything there from, because you never know what might come up. And just, if you don't want to, it's no big deal, but it's a tool like anything else. And you got to know how to use the tool, and it's all in the prompt. And sometimes you say, AI, tell me how to write the prompt in order to get this. And so you constantly tweak it. I get an answer back, and I'm saying, they didn't include these 2 things. So I say, why did you not include these 2 things? And they come, oh, you're very astute. Yeah, this is it, and this is it. And they give me another 12 pages. So just because they give you something doesn't necessarily mean it's all, or mostly it's probably correct. They're going to the right sources. But I think that you can always come back and say, well, why didn't you consider this? And then ask them to come back and give you more information. I think it might be worth a little of your time, because it looks like now you're starting to get committed to things. As with commitments go, there's always new learning, new skills. Well, and there may be one AI better than another one. We had a really long discussion yesterday on the networking group about Perplexity versus ChatGPT. And so there's issues out there that one may be better than another. Anyway, pass that on for what it's worth. So
yeah, I definitely see a use in like marketing analysis and like things of like the business side of writing and publishing, like just kind of internal keeping track of stuff. But like, I think one of my biggest successes I had in researching was I went to a local cultural center where they had just a limited number, because their culture does not have that big of a impression online. So I had to go in person. And because I was sitting there for an hour paging through what turned out to be a cookbook, which was like, I wouldn't have thought that like I didn't realize like, oh, a cookbook, this will give me like what spices they use, what things like that. Paging through a cookbook, another book as well, because I had put in the time and just sat there to touch pages, which is slightly like touching grass. Their entire head of their organization was like, oh, you're serious about learning about our culture. And then he talked with me for a half an hour, and I got to ask him questions about his experience and things like that, where, yeah, sometimes it's really great, like, to be like, hey, can you check how many stories of spring, like a story of spring kind of thing, like get a number on that from the AI. But sometimes the time of turning pages and forming interpersonal connection pays off as well. So that's what I want this writing process for now to be like, because the whole story is about the importance of interpersonal connection as well. That's where that's the power that the magic derives from. So I definitely want that to be an integral part of the story writing.
Do you have a commitment date for the publishing of this book?
I'm hoping to get it out by next year. I'm definitely thinking about self-publishing. Yeah, there's like not 2027. So I'm thinking about hoping to get it out by 2027. I'm looking at other authors who had an idea for publishing by December, or at least they had a publishable story by December, and then by January of the next year, they had it out. And that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens, but we're aiming for that.
Okay, so you have to plug in the time required for editing and rewrites and proofing. Mm-hmm. And then when do you plan on start marketing this book?
Well, so far I'm kind of doing like the zero marketing now, talking about it here. I've flipped over my YouTube channel to just me blogging about my revision process as on a week by week basis. So I did 1 week of that. Did writing like Sanderson. There's week 1 up there already, because I know where the algorithm puts my stuff in front of fans of Brandon Sanderson. I'm trying to pull them in to my writing process on the theory of Sanderson gives writing lectures on his YouTube channel. Sanderson writes books. How am I using those tools to inform my writing process? He is very big on like the percentage of how much he's written. And that I found, like, I started it just first for the gag of like, oh yeah, I'll just riff this off because it looks so fun when he does it. And then finding that in myself to be like, oh, this is actually helping me be like, am I at 48%? So I gotta be starting at the midpoint action scene and things of that nature. So it's.
Well, I know you're very, very prolific on YouTube. I think the last time I checked, 450, 460 videos already posted, and you're going crazy just up to that. So we're getting ready to go to commercial break. When we come back, I'd like to go down your YouTube journey, and we will talk more about that and go on. So let's go ahead and go to a commercial break now, and we'll get right back into the program in about a minute and a half.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Red O'Loughlin here. We're on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And my guest today is Jackie Ragnarova. And Jackie is a fiction enthusiast, advocate, content creator, video marketer supreme. So let's go into the video marketing aspect. You've been in YouTube now how long?
About 5 years. Yeah. Started 2020.
Okay, so you started in that. A lot of people have difficulty videoing themselves and that's there. So how has your experience changed, and when do you think that more professional Jackie came about?
Well, it took like 2 years, like at least 2 years before I got a microphone that wasn't terrible. I started recording in my like on my dining room table, had to wait for the refrigerator to stop humming between takes. And I started with like a little animated figure of myself. They did stop motion animation and just did voiceover. Some channels are very popular with that, but their creators are more artistically inclined than myself. So that was one where I was camera shy, and so I thought that would be a helpful way to do it, but that wasn't working super well. And finally, about 3 years into it, I got a job where I finally felt comfortable enough putting my face on my videos. So I did a face reveal, and from there, there's like, you can see the evolution of me trying to figure out how to set up my home office to be a home recording studio. That has, until I finally found a pretty workable way. But as I learned last week, when I started recording back to back to back by days, I never was able to set up my camera in the same place twice because I still share that space. So actually today we're seeing the preview hasn't gone onto my channel yet. The latest innovation of my channel, where I finally got some space in the co-working area that I use for my day job, and can now set this up as a studio sort of space where I won't need to reset up my camera every single time, so that I can use the space, not have to share it with a cat that moves the camera, use my left arm, because the only way I could set it up is I was literally sitting in a corner, well, this way. So like my arm had to be like behind the bookshelf so I could fit it all in screen. So this is going to get, the purple will appear, a bookshelf will appear here, and hopefully that will help improve the quality of my videos again, so that it's not quite so jumpy and I'm able to perfect screen composition.
Okay, so trial and error, lessons learned, continual improvement, continual learning. It's not one of those things, I do it. You're continually learning how to improve it. So you're self-critiquing yourself on what you're saying. Do you edit your videos?
I do edit my own videos. That helps when I hear myself where my errors are. I like to pause between the middle of words and sentences. So practicing getting through those sentences, finishing them, and pausing where the period or comma is supposed to go. Things of that nature. I will say that having the little animated character at the beginning was helpful, because I wanted her to have a few specific poses so that she wasn't just standing there like this the whole time. And so I gave her like this picture, like this, and this were the three basic poses, and then kind of like a thoughtful one. So the very beginning of me voice recording to try and differentiate my tone, I started using those poses myself, period. I always talk with my hands, but it gave me direction and helped sculpt my voice from the monotone vocal fry that I was told was good because women sound better when they use low tones. Debatable. That was some bad advice that I got, and then I operated on that till I got some good advice. And then recording myself just vocally, but practicing with the hand motions so that they would reflect in my tone made it so much easier to go into recording myself, where still talking with the hands, but I now have a year of practice behind the scenes in aligning these hand motions to my words so that they might help or they might not. If you don't like someone who talks with her hands, my channel probably isn't for you.
Okay, so you're getting ready for a video. You're going to edit it. You have a script or an outline, or everything is coming off your brain ad hoc, or what?
Usually I write a script. It's usually researched based off of pulling from the book that I'm focusing on, book series, their control Fing, finding the quotes I want to pull, comparing them with the mythologies that I want. That I usually write that out in full beforehand, and then because of where the camera is, I'm saying that from memory with minimal looking at the script. So that keeps it on track, but there's a little bit of improvisation as we go along. My latest vlog series of videos, I just have my word count and my impressions from the last 24 hours, and I just talk. So that's a very different feeling. But with the script, I can keep things on track pretty well.
Okay, so how many vlogs do you have versus just other kinds of videos?
I'd say that I've only done like 4 unscripted videos my entire history on the channel. I'm very much a think about what I want to say, write it all out, and then say it. That has been super helpful for me and my pausing in the middle of sentences, because if I've said the sentence 5 times in my head before in the process of researching it, writing it out, revising it, it comes out a lot clearer in my mouth the first time, rather than when I'm thinking of what to say as I'm saying it. That's when you get a lot more pauses and stutters and things like that. But it helps. They feed into each other either way.
Your website's name, Me, My Skirt, and I.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the background.
The background?
You know, why not Jackie, and keep it aligned with the ownership of your series versus Me, My Skirt, and I. I know there's a background story because you mentioned it on another show we've been on together. So why for this audience?
Yeah, so I came up with Me, My Skirt, and I as a brand name for like on its own. I wanted it to be a brand. I wanted it to be a phrase for me that I can associate with undertakings that I've done. They're large. It came specifically in grad school. I did a summer study abroad in Europe where I decided I was going to land in Ireland, travel by train down to Italy where the study abroad was actually happening, and then travel by train up to Poland to meet with a different group of people from my church. So all that train traveling was done me, myself, and I. But I hate pants as an institution, really. So I packed all my summer dresses and skirts And I just was like, oh, me, my skirt, and I are undertaking this venture. So when I began to undertake the venture of the YouTube channel, that felt fitting. And at that time, like Jackie as a name with associated with my creative endeavors was already, it already existed, but I wasn't certain yet if I wanted to have that name like that to be the name of the channel. Looking at things like Hello Future Me and Overly Sarcastic Productions, their YouTube channels, especially Overly Sarcastic Productions, was very successful with having the channel name and then the hosts of Red and Blue be separate and distinct entities. So I looked at them and said, yeah, if they're doing it, I can do that. They've done it much more successfully than I have, but I'm sticking with the bit.
Now you have the YouTube channels and you got quite a few videos out there. Do you attach those videos to any other social media to expand your social network?
So I definitely post about them on my Instagram and threads with the Instagram. I've tried posting them on my on like different forums, but you get a lot of people there that will like look at the video the first 5 minutes and be like, oh, this is a 20-minute video, and then back out, which gets you a high view count, low watch time, and YouTube doesn't like that. So what's important, I've been doing like on threads and Instagram, is posting my videos, but then that's me talking with my hands. But then talking with other stuff, with other people on there, commenting, reposting other people's things so that they see me as part of the fandom. And then when I post, especially my shorts content, they will see that and repost it, and my videos are connecting with people on that way.
Okay, so the videos are available on some of the other Instagram, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And most everything is edited when you actually get ready to post to the upload, I guess is probably a better word.
Mm-hmm.
You create your own images on the thumbnail. How do you do that?
Yeah, I've got just the Adobe suite. I did hire a guy to try and improve my thumbnails, and that did for one video, trying to just see if it was a great improvement, and it had a pretty good, like, it started stronger than my other videos, but it's kind of evened out. Like, there's not a discernible difference. So maybe if I continue to hire him, we might refine the process. But for now, focusing more on novel writing and connection rather than trying to break the bank on that particular thing. So yeah, just me and Adobe Photoshop, usually with an exaggerated pose and some words I hope interest people.
Okay, AI offers the ability to have you speak right now in French or Japanese as if your mouth was actually creating the exact words in those foreign languages. Have you given any thought to converting any of your videos to you speaking a foreign language to get a different audience into your realm?
So not really. Again, my experience with the algorithm is that it wants you to keep on returning to the same people for and establishing a fan base there. There was a few years ago, I got into Tollywood movies, RRR by Rajamouli, that came out on Netflix and had a huge US, like, it was not as big as K-pop Demon Hunters is right now, but pretty big. Cinema Therapy did an episode on it, and that turned me like, oh, it made me aware of all these great movies that were available on Netflix, but from the Indian cinema industry. So I started watching those videos, did a couple reviews on them, and then what happened was that I got the distinct impression that my viewers in India, which I see the connection between their movies and epic fantasy so clearly, but the algorithm wasn't getting it. So they were showing like my book reviews to people in India who could speak English, but weren't necessarily interested in that. And then the video reviews were going to people in the US who maybe hadn't seen these more obscure movies. And that tanked my numbers really quickly. So before I want to establish more of an English language base of fans before I try to expand out into foreign languages, because that's going to do weird stuff to the algorithm, and I want to have a solid base first.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a real keen eye on the analytics of what's going on. So if you did create a Spanish or Italian or Indian channel, it would have probably be a separate YouTube channel. But anyway, we're at that point in time of the show where how do people buy your books? How do they get in touch with you in the event of what's going on? And do you have any appearances in the near future?
So I have my YouTube channel, Me, My Skirt, and I. That's the primary way. That's my primarily publishing site of creating content. Instagram, Me, My Skirt, and I as well. Threads, I'm there, talking about my stuff, connecting with writers in process. I am volunteering at Dragonsteel Nexus. I'm not a panelist, but I will be there helping with stuff and connecting with fans of Brandon Sanderson, things like that. So that's my social calendar up and coming. I'm definitely looking into getting my own website and will be posting about that. Also, I have a Patreon, Me, My Skirt, and I, where I guess my diehard 10 fans can regularly converse with me. And if you want to join that, that's available as well. So there's places to get a hold of me, and that will be posting updates there for expanding the brand to include a website and other engagements. So that's my...
Well, I know the next time we connect, and I'm sure there will be a next time, you're going to have well over 500, maybe 600 videos on your YouTube channel. And I congratulate you for that. That's a lot of effort that you're putting in to do that. So anyway, thank you so very, very much for being a guest today on The Wise Ones. And I look forward to our next conversation. Take care.
Thank you.
Brett O'Loughlin here. We're wrapping up The Wise Ones today on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. The next show on in about 23 minutes is Talking Heads. And I'll be talking today essentially about longevity, age related things. How can you stay healthy as you grow older? There's a lot of things out there that actually, if you're aware of it, and most of these are just normal lifestyle choices, our diet, our sleep patterns, our stress management, exercise, the things that we typically do and should do better, literally attack every single aspect of our aging process. But as we get older, things tweak and change a little bit. So today we'll be talking about that. Please join me. If you can't make it live here in the next 20 minutes or so, please go to YouTube and go to the USA Global TV and Radio Network and view it on the archives. So Brett O'Loughlin checking out. Bye now.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Steve Klein Art at steveklein.art.
My name is Steve Klein, born Manchester, England, 1953. My quest in my lifetime is to create artwork from my soul and the deepness within my wildest dreams and fantasies. In 2012, my heart stopped when I was given too much anesthetic for a minor knee operation, and this near-death experience took me to another multidimensional world, an out-of-body experience, and I was given the gift of being blessed by an overwhelming, burning passion to become, for the very first time in my life, an artist with an eternal, passionate desire to bring my art, which I've named multidimensional, subliminal, freeform art, to the world, as only 3% recover from what I experienced, and now in my golden years want to release my cosmic, vital energy through my art to allow people to be a part of my cosmic dance.
To learn more, email roccogoodwine@gmail.com. For VIP pricing, mention USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.